I'm violently sick, but we're back. I took a month off YouTube right after I said I was going to post every day, which is a big oopsie on my part. If you don't know who I am, I run a six-figure clothing brand. Last year, when I pretty much started, we did $264,000 in sales. And I'm not saying that to flex or show off or anything. I just want you guys to know I've actually done this clothing shit before. I'm not just making this up. I've seen a lot of brands on Instagram recently just spamming content, the same one or two designs, and I think it's really fucking stupid. And I get why people do it. Like, if you have a bunch of dead inventory, you want to get it all sold. But if your only plan to do that is posting a bunch of shitty, low quality videos, then maybe the marketing isn't the problem. You just have shitty designs. And that's why today I'm going to give you my biggest piece of advice for anyone stuck under 10K in sales, which is just make more fucking designs. So for background, last year from January to April, I did around $19,000 in sales, and I was doing a new drop every month. And some collections did okay. Like in January I did 7K, February I did 6K, but not every design is a winner. Like in March I did literally $800 in sales, which is really fucking bad. What you need to accept as a new brand owner is you are probably not a good designer and you do not have good taste. At least not when you're starting out. Like I see so many brand owners on TikTok literally arguing with other people in their comments trying to convince them that their designs look good. Like if you have to convince someone that your designs look good, they don't look good. They look like shit. There's only one way to actually know if your clothes are good enough to sell, and it's pretty obvious. You need to just see if they sell. You can ask your friends or your followers if they think it looks good, but your boy Sean saying your shirt looks cool versus him actually going into a Nordstrom and buying your t-shirt for $50 in front of all the other options is a completely different thing. So really getting into it, there are 3 steps that I teach my community about how to get your brand to your first 10K month. And they are make good product, market the shit out of it, and repeat that process. That's literally it. It sounds really simple, and it is, and I think the biggest issue is that everyone gets really caught up on this second step, where they think if their clothes aren't selling, it's because they're not making the right TikToks or the right ads to go with it. But everything comes down to whether or not your clothes actually look good. People don't get how important design is, which is really weird when you're making a clothing brand. I see too many kids downloading Canva or Procreate and immediately trying to sell the first designs that they make. Like you're competing with multi-million-dollar businesses that have dedicated design teams with decades of experience among them. Do you really think your first time opening Photoshop is going to be a better design than these brands? No, don't be an idiot. Obviously, what makes a design good is subjective, but it's something you need to figure out, and I think about it in 3 main ways. 1, can you actually imagine people wearing it? Sometimes I see brands that make the coolest looking shit, but it doesn't sell well because the only people that would wear it would be like rappers. And at that point, you're not going to get any sales because the average person does not dress like Playboy Cardi. And 2, is it eye-catching? I think the best example of this is a brand like Essentials. It looks good. I'm not trying to debate that, but it's not eye-catching. Essentials doesn't sell because an Instagram mock-up can go viral. It sells because Fear of God was one of the biggest names in runway fashion, so they've already done all that work of being a very eye-catching name and brand, and once they had that reputation, Essentials line didn't need to do all that work. They already did all the eye-catching stuff, so Essentials doesn't have to do that work anymore. All it has to do is look good enough to wear, and it sells super well. Good and eye-catching are 2 very different things, but you need to have both. And 3 is, does it solve a problem? This is harder to define because it's clothes. I'm not saying you need to add utility pockets or iPhone holes on every piece of clothes that you make, but you really need to think about your target customer and how buying your clothes helps them solve a problem. Like Charles & Keith does billions of dollars in sales every year, and it's because they solve a problem by making handbags that feel luxury affordable to women who can't buy the Chanel and Coaches of the market. Thought We Were Friends makes eye-catching pieces that you literally can't find anywhere else for people who really care about fashion. Like if you make designs and all you think about is does this look good, but you don't think about the target customer, you're not going to get any sales because you're not actually thinking about what makes people buy. And it doesn't have to be a crazy problem like this. Like you could literally just be doing like a hoodie in a color that people don't already have in the rotation. Just think about your customer and think about problems you're trying to solve. This is a hard formula to learn. I'm not saying that product design is easy, which is why you need to be constantly testing new ideas. And if you're only dropping once or twice a year, you're not giving yourself time to actually do that. That's what my biggest piece of advice for new brand owners is to constantly make new designs. It's the same way a rapper needs to make a bunch of songs and have a big discography. Like you don't need every single song to be a banger, but if you assume that 1 out of every 100 is going to blow up, then why aren't you making 100? Going from $0 months to 10K months is really hard. It's probably the hardest part of this process because you don't know what people like yet. So you have to be constantly testing out new ideas and new concepts until you find what hits. Like, I dropped around 40 pieces from January to June, like 10 pieces every month, and only 4 of them blew up. And now I don't do a collection every month. I drop collections like every 3 months, partially because I'm lazy, but also because I'm not testing anymore. I'm making clothes that I know are going to do well because of what worked in the past with my market. Like, I did this collection in January and February, and I did around 90K in sales, and I knew it was going to do well before I even released it because I already knew what kind of products my customers liked. For proof, we did that collection at the very end of January and then sold it through February, and we did $89,000. And I didn't feel like I was taking a risk at all because I was just making clothes that I knew my audience already liked. And as you make more clothes, you're going to know what looks good and what doesn't. That's just the thing that comes with doing more practice. I think a lot of people get stuck under 10K a month because they get distracted by all this little bullshit that doesn't matter until you're doing like 6 or 7 figures in revenue. Like, stop getting distracted by optimizing your email signups. Stop making shitty videos that you can post on every single platform. Don't change your copy by one word just to get a little bit better conversion. None of that stuff matters when you're under 10K because you haven't solved the biggest problem yet, which is you have shitty designs. Make your designs better, make more clothes. That's the most important part right now. Stop wasting your effort and energy in all this other random shit that doesn't really matter. That's all for today. And if you want more personal help for your brand, I have a community of brand owners that you can join. I provide you with resources, weekly coaching, and answer any questions to help you go from 0 to 6 figures in under a year, just like I did. Also, let me know in the comments what kind of video or topic you want to see next. Peace.